Okay, we, like I hope every other immigrant appreciates what is given. Good morning, room service.
The Brokaw Report will continue. An all-new eyewitness video next. It was the happiest day of her life, but
a hurricane was coming on the day of my wedding.
Hawaii was being devastated by Hurricane Iniki.
It turned into a living hell.
But nothing can stop them from tying the knot.
It was more special than anything I could have dreamed of.
An all-new eyewitness video, NBC next.
Excuse me. May I help you?
Meet Postal Buddy, an amazing new machine that lets you print with just the touch of a finger. Create all kinds of personalized address labels, business cards, and more instantly. Postal Buddy will print them right on the spot. You'll be amazed at what your finger prints. Visit your Postal Buddy and touch the future.
News 4's Bob Ryan, your foul weather friend.
One of the more interesting provisions in the current immigration law is the millionaire's visa. If a potential immigrant promises to invest $1 million in a business that will employ at least 10 people, bingo, welcome to the US of A. 206 traveling entrepreneurs have ponied up the $1 million entry fee. Of course, most new Americans come here with a great deal less, and still, they do manage to enrich us.
That's very dangerous, you know?
Very dangerous. This is very sharp knife. Like this, and
with Sergei Mushnik and his 20-year-old son Vadim, there's a lot more than meets the eye.
You can see nothing in hand or nothing in the fear.
But unlike most magicians, the Mushniks insist on explaining how it's done.
Give me.
Okay, how was it, okay?
This is
Okay.
These Russian immigrants are full of the joy of living. That's one of the reasons they're succeeding in their new home.
It's like golden rule. If you get people what they want, you know, you will get, on another hand, what you want.
What the Mushniks want and are getting is the chance to succeed. They felt stifled in the former Soviet Union, discriminated against as Jews.
Cheers, cheers.
20,000 Russian immigrants have come to Chicago since the mid-70s, 400,000 nationwide. The White Knights, a Russian nightclub in Chicago. A doctor, a dentist, a social worker, a law student and his bride, a translator, a computer analyst, a jewelry store owner, a taxi company owner, all new Americans, and the Mushniks. Sergei, wife Clara, son Vadim, daughter Zhana, and Zhana's daughter Rebecca.
Do you look at this and think of home?
Absolutely. This picture is very close to us, and it portrays the old Tashkent. Tashkent is the city where we come from.
They didn't know what to expect when 3 years ago the Mushniks said goodbye to their friends and family. They were each permitted to take out just $90. Like many Russian immigrants, the Mushniks were relocated to Chicago by a Jewish refugee agency.
The first thing I saw in America that was very different from Russians, smiles. Russian people forgot how to smile.
Everything was very hard, especially maybe for me.
Despite their advanced educations, the Mushniks cleaned apartments at minimum wage. That's typical work for immigrants with little English.
We never complain, okay? We, like I hope every other immigrant appreciates what is given.
But the Mushniks did have a plan. Vadim knew the most English, so he was charged with developing investment strategies.
Self-study courses, tape courses, real estate, self-motivation. Like, for example, this one, is a success collection of the financial speakers, the secrets of power negotiation. Pretty interesting, In Russia, there is no such word like credit. At one time, I was very... maybe I should say crazy about getting the credit cards for the family, not because we wanted to spend on it, to waste the money, but because having credit card means having a good credit. I think it shouldn't be subject of pride, but I think it is for us.
The next step was to prepare Sergei for a job in his field, molecular biology.
This is going to be in Russian.
Yeah.
The family worked on his English and on his resume. When he went for his first interview, Sergei expected to be disappointed, but he got the job.
It was amazing, a miracle. As soon as my mom got home, she asked me what. I told her, don't be surprised, our father has found a job. We cried.
Sergei is working on a cure for prostate cancer with Dr. Marvin Rubenstein of the Hectone Institute.
I interviewed a large number of people. A lot of people put resumes in front. I had a lot of people call me. I went with the person who had the most experience and who I thought was most capable.
It's a new approach, and probably it will help to develop some new drugs and understand how tumor cells proliferate.
47, thank you. Have a good day. You too. Same thing today?
Clara, a trained surgical nurse, got a job as a cashier in a delicatessen.
She didn't know anything about the cash register. I just threw her and let her swim. I knew she could do it. She greets the customers like they were someone that would come over to visit her home. You wouldn't find it with a lot of native-born Americans.
Вот на монетку смотри, на монетку, раз, нету.
Like many other Russian immigrants, the Mushniks' American success story is very much a family project. Sergei, the scientist, is not above babysitting granddaughter Rebecca so that daughter Zhana could enroll in an accelerated pre-med program and volunteer at a hospital emergency room. Most days, Vadim starts at 5 a.m.
Good morning, room service.
Afternoons, he takes a tax class. He already has earned his real estate license and recently arranged the family's purchase of a Lakeview condominium.
We have worked hard to save for down payment. I want to make sure that my family, my parents, retire not on the Social Security, but on their own savings.
Russians are one of almost 100 ethnic groups to immigrate to Chicago this century. But then this is a city that was built by immigrants. They came from Eastern Europe and from Ireland. Now they're coming from new countries, and they're bringing a new dynamic to the city, new language, and a new determination to get a piece of the American dream. Some 40,000 immigrants arrive in Chicago every year. In the wave of immigrants, 100,000 Koreans, a vital, ambitious, and sometimes controversial immigrant community. There is so much to learn on both sides. Taekwondo master Cha Kyo Han has a special talent, teaching self-esteem and discipline to inner-city youngsters.
Inhale.
And teaching stress management to high school teachers.
Exhale. Nonfiction is the other side of that fiction section.
Shahi Lee Stanfield, a librarian, is popular for her special sensitivity to the elderly. That's an important part of the Korean culture.
In this country, I see a lot of elder people live by themselves. A lot of elder people depend on books, which touches our heart.
Koreans have also scored big in the game of American capitalism. They play hard and well. 10 years ago, this 2-mile stretch was in decay, but savvy Korean entrepreneurs recognized its potential and revitalized it. Do you want to expand out of this neighborhood? Are you looking for new territory? Businessman Noah Yu. What is your goal, Noah?
I would like to be the #1 taxpayer in America.
The #1 taxpayer in America?
Why not?
Which would mean you'd be the richest man in America. Noah and his family came to this country 20 years ago with $500. Now, they own more than a dozen buildings and businesses. Well, how did you get started?
We started, like a beginner from the bottom of the, So they starting gay, which is each
a
family.
Cooperative? Gay is a cooperative?
There's a cooperative family or friend together, trustable each other. They share the money together, get together.
Gay is a Korean support system. Cooperatives that help immigrants open businesses, groceries, hardware stores, furniture stores. Koreans thrive where others couldn't get financial backing. Once the Korean businesses show a profit, they must help the gay support others. In some places, the Korean presence and visible progress cause resentment, even hostility. Noah's sister, Agnes.
Inside my heart, I have that feeling. I'm an outsider, and I think I'm going to be an outsider forever. No matter how much I try, not unless I get my eye operated or dye my hair and surgery on my face, still I'm a Korean.
Despite the occasional tensions, the Yu family is appreciated on Chicago's South Side.
See y'all later, man.
If they weren't here, nobody else would be here. Originally, black people couldn't find jobs. Now they're able to find jobs, and that is because of the Koreans.
Need to put some more down here. Put more people like them down here, we'd be all right.
Noah sometimes gives overstocked items from his stores to employees to sell at flea markets. He says he does that to give the employees a taste of initiative and enterprise.
It's a lot of things right now that I really don't know about going into the business, but, you know, I'm learning gradually, you know.
I'd like to open a job school.
For technical training and
technical
vocational training. Noah says his real hope is to open a free vocational school in his community, part of his American dream.
It's always better to work with the conventional lenders if you want to get the, credit.
Vadim wants to be a doctor someday. Meanwhile, he counsels other immigrants who are aspiring entrepreneurs.
Many times people see someone like you who comes here and is very successful by working hard. And they say, why can't Americans do that?
Everybody can do that. It's not about being immigrant or Native American. I think the human's potential is unlimited.
In the American economy, others may be discouraged by the tough times and the changing landscape, but these new immigrants see hope. As for Clara Mushnik, she's moving up. She's planning to open her own delicatessen.
Every day I say in my mind, thanks God for everything, and say, God bless America.
Fact, the population of the United States in 1990 was close to 250 million. Forecast, with legal immigration, our population will reach 367 million in 2050. That's an increase of close to 50%. With the current rate of illegal immigration factored in, the total will be 383 million. Are those numbers bad, good, or somewhere in between? Three experts tell us what they think when we come back.
Basically, I thought all toothpaste were the same. But then on a visit to my grandmother's, I tried her Arm & Hammer dental care. And wow, it was a special feeling, like a burst of clean. My mouth felt so clean and so healthy that it was just like leaving the dentist office.
That fresh from the dentist feeling, it's because Arm & Hammer has twice the baking soda of any other major brand.
Now I get that fresh from the dentist feeling every single time I brush.
Arm & Hammer Dental Care, twice the baking soda for that fresh from the dentist feeling of clean.
My dandruff shampoo is good.
Better try something else. Mine really works.
You'd better try something else, like Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it more than all leading brands. Selsun Blue, doctor recommended #1.
Tom Snyder, he's back every night on NBC's cable network, CNBC. Live, call in, talk television. Tom Snyder, every night only on CNBC. Check your local listings for time and cable channel number.
Whoa, Domino's is cooking! And now every time you call us, we're giving you something for nothing. It's really something. Really something when you call Domino's. Now buy our new large bacon cheddar cheeseburger pizza with ground beef, bacon, mozzarella, and cheddar cheeses at regular price. And you get a medium one-topping pizza free. With zilch, nada, for free. Tell them what our guaranteed 30-minute delivery costs are. Nothing. Something for nothing when you call Domino's.
And now an important announcement from LA Law. Thursday, LA Law will return with all new episodes. Episodes produced by the creative team behind its most successful years.
I would expect either a commitment or a resignation.
This is the LA Law that captivated you. The stories and characters you loved.
Do you have a hard and fast policy against getting sexually involved with clients?
Remember when LA Law was your favorite show? Starting Thursday, it will be again.
Nearly 10 million immigrants have come here in the last 10 years or so, and a lot of Americans are asking, can we afford to keep the doors open? Is immigration changing the United States so much that pretty soon we won't be able to recognize our own country? Well, here with us to help wrestle with those questions are Dan Stein, the Executive Director of FAIR, the Federation for American Immigration Reform, and Frank Sharry, Executive Director of the National Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Forum. And in Washington, Senator Alen Simpson of Wyoming, an expert on immigration, the author of immigration legislation. Mr. Sharry, let me begin with you. Do you think that this incident at the World Trade Center, with the bombing suspect being an illegal immigrant, sets back your cause somewhat?
Probably. And we're hoping that people can keep their heads. I mean, there's no question that someone who commits such a heinous crime should be prosecuted fully. We're just concerned that we may go overboard. All we want is that people who say they're fleeing persecution get a full and fair hearing. That's what we are saying people deserve. And we think there's ways to do it so that people who come into this country have a full, fair hearing, can do it quickly, and if they don't qualify, they get sent out. And I think that we can preserve the principle of giving people a chance to make their case and also do it in a way that doesn't allow people to come in and abuse the system.
Mr. Stein, hasn't there been a heavy play on that whole issue of dangerous illegal immigrants when the fact is that the figures show that most of the immigrants who come to this country, legal and illegal, are making real contributions?
Well, the picture is really mixed, Tom, in terms of how immigrants are doing. And the recent evidence shows that as immigrants come from many developing countries, they're bringing less skills, less education, and as a result, their income standards are not what they ought to be. But also, as your piece excellently showed, we don't have political control over who's coming in. There are three basic questions here in immigration policy. How many you're going to admit each year, who they are, and how you enforce the rules. As you guys showed at the airports, seaports, land, the United States has lost control of the entire process. And I think the American people deserve better than that.
Senator Simpson, do you think that we've lost control of the process entirely?
Well, I do. It is a grievous situation. It's one that I've been in for many years. All the accusations of xenophobia, racism, bigotry. The real issue is that the first duty of a sovereign nation is to control its borders. We don't, and we're not going to get it done until we have some type of more secure identifying document that allows for work authorization. These people are really coming here to work. That's what they're coming for.
You'd like to have some kind of a national ID card with a hologram on it that could not be in some way counterfeited, correct?
Well, I've been through that one. Somebody will mention the national ID, and then we slip quickly into tattoos and Nazi Germany, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about something that would be done through the states. States would do it through their driver's license system, through some type of identifier, some type of electronic marking device. Let the states begin that, because the whole key to this is, remember, these people are really coming here to work. They may ask for asylum, and don't forget, when they're asking for asylum and they've come across 3, 4, 5 other countries where they would have been free, you know how phony the claim is.
Mr. Sharry, isn't that a reasonable request on the Senator's part, that we have some kind of a national identification to get control of the process?
Well, as I think the Senator has quite rightly said, that he's not talking about a national ID, but just imagine it, a federal work permit in which people have to show this card to get a job. While Senator Simpson doesn't want it, you can easily envision in a few years how the government's going to impose all kinds of new categories of penalties or punishments against people so that they can't work in order to force certain behaviors. The main issue, Tom, is that most people come in legally. 8 out of 10 immigrants who come into the country and refugees come in legally. They do so to join family members, close family members. They come because they're fleeing persecution, and they come because they have work skills that American employers need in order to stay competitive. So we talk a lot about illegal immigration. Most people come in legally, and they do so for very good reasons.
The fact is, Mr. Stein, that a lot of American employers hire those illegal aliens and legal aliens who will work for the lesser wage, because that's how they can stay competitive in this economy.
Many employers use illegal immigrants, recent immigrants, as a labor subsidy. They pay them less wages, don't give them the working conditions, undercut and destroy labor unions. Immigration is now running at all-time historic highs. And because of world population growth, it's going to get higher and higher unless we change the laws to begin ratcheting down the numbers, to bring the numbers down to maybe 300,000 so that our population won't, as you just said, increase by 100 million in our children's lifetime.
Senator Simpson, have you been surprised that American employers, whatever their political feelings, have been as willing as they are to hire illegal aliens to somehow mask the fact that they're doing that, to do whatever is necessary to get the cheaper labor?
No, I call that the Wall Street Journal theory of immigration. That is, and I've seen their editorial boards cover this, they hammer my old bald head flat, and I keep taking them on. They talk about open borders. How absurd. They're interested in a workforce that's compliant, exploited, paid the least possible, and then used up and expended, and then bring on some new ones. And it's an appalling thing to watch. And what's happening to us, if we don't correct things with regard to illegal immigration, and do that through some humane way, not through border armies and military, then we're going to lose our compassion to do things for the legal immigration.
Do you agree with that, Mr. Sharry?
We agree that as a sovereign nation, the United States has a right and a duty to control our borders, and we very much support that. There's a disagreement over means. We keep the door open because it's in our interest to be a beacon of hope for people fleeing because of what they believe in.
But there's a big disparity between what you would allow on an annual basis and what Mr. Stein would allow. You want, what, about 800,000 immigrants a year to come in legally?
That's right.
You want less than half that.
We want to make sure it doesn't fuel population growth. But even with both our figures, less than a fraction of 1% of the world could move here. Coming to the U.S. is still the most scarce commodity sought after worldwide. 100 million people today, as we sit here, would like, if you gave them the chance, to come to this country. We have to make very careful judgments about how many we can absorb, and when you can admit only a very small percentage of those who want to come, we've got to be very careful in how we decide.
Mr. Sharry, do you think that race plays an issue in all of this?
I'm afraid it does. I don't want to invoke that card, but I think it does, and I hope that America remembers that this country was based on people who weren't wanted, that everyone here comes from. I mean, my Italian grandparents were too dark, too lazy, too criminal, and they came and they made sure that their daughter had me and I went to college. And that American dream is very much alive. It's very much alive in the pieces you showed in your earlier segments.
Given the nature of this country, politically and physically, with the kind of porous borders that we have, do you have any hope that this immigration question is going to get resolved within this decade, Senator Simpson?
I really do, because we have some thoughtful people who are ready to address it. People are paying attention, and this is going to crystallize their thinking, because really it's absurd what's happening, and the groups, I think, are going to really wake up and understand what is actually happening in America and how crude it is to pretend that you have a sovereign country when you have no control over your borders. I know I sound simplistic.
Mr. Stein, do you agree that it's going to happen in this decade?
Polls show that Americans, black, Hispanic, Anglo, all agree that immigration needs to be reduced. American people are a compassionate people, and they want to help the rest of the world solve its problems. But they also know we can't accept everyone here in trying to do so. There is a consensus in a democratic country that if we do not want the volume of immigrants who are coming now, we should be able, in a constructive and reasonable way, bring the numbers down and get control of our borders.
Mr. Sharry, what's your greatest fear?
My greatest fear is that most people will think that the largest number of people coming in the United States are entering illegally. The fact is that most come legally. They join close family members. We're talking about moms and dads joining kids. We're talking about brothers and sisters who have been separated for up to 15 years. That's the majority of people coming into the country. And if we start focusing on a few crazies who commit heinous crimes, we're going to lose sight of the fact that it's in our interest to bring families together, to bring in workers who can create economic growth, and rescue a few refugees who are standing up for what they believe in.
Senator Simpson, Mr. Stein, Mr. Sharry, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll be back with some final thoughts in a moment.
It's night and day the difference Correctol makes when I'm irregular. Correctol is the woman's gentle laxative that works predictably overnight. No wonder more women trust it. Correctol, gently, predictably, overnight.
As a smart shopper, I did some checking before choosing a yeast infection cure. My doctor says MySelect 7 has the same full prescription strength medicine as Gynolotrimate, and it costs less. So my choice, my cure, is MySelect's.
Julie Inkster, women's golf champion.
I couldn't afford to lose a golf tournament to diarrhea. I needed relief.
Introducing new Kale Pectate 2.
Something I could count on to let me play all day without worrying.
You'll often get one dose relief with new Kale Pectate 2 caplets.
Well, I did play all day, and the only thing I worried about were the sand traps.
Trust new Kale Pectate 2 for relief in one dose.
She saw something she shouldn't have.
Who shot who? And
Her lover, a cop, is trying to protect her.
Now that you know how dangerous this is.
He could be the man she's looking for.
police cover-up.
Things are not always what they seem.
Ali Sheedy stars in a motion picture thriller, Lethal Exposure, NBC Sunday.
This week, from the big screen to the small screen, join Bryant and Katie with the Oscar winners, Danny DeVito, and L.A. Law's Michael Tucker and Jill Eikenberry, this week on Today.
You've been dating the man of your dreams, but do you really know him? This man loved them. Then he ripped them off for more than $500,000. It's unsolved. Plus, the crime that shocked a nation. But what really happened? Startling new evidence blows the lid off the murder of Martin Luther King. A new unsolved mystery. NBC Wednesday. In the Secret Service, seconds count when terrorists plot to kill President Reagan's son. Based on actual events. Secret Service, NBC Friday.
Immigration. Who gets in and who doesn't? What to do about illegal immigrants? These issues will be on the American agenda for the rest of this decade. The United States may be going through tough times economically, but we're still the golden door for most of the rest of the world. A world in turmoil. Consider the prospects for Russian emigration as that country goes through economic chaos, constantly on the cusp of civil war. Or India, where religious wars and overpopulation have so many looking for sanctuary. The same for Pakistan, Bangladesh. Ask a young Chinese if they'd like to come to the United States. Chances are, yes. We know how most of the Haitians feel, of course. So we do have to settle on a number. We have to settle on conditions and penalties and adhere to them, all of us, as citizens and employers. We can still lift the lamp, but we must remember that we are a nation of laws, and we cannot pretend that what happens in the darkness is of no consequence. I'm Tom Brokaw. Good night for all of us at NBC News.
Nobody gave us anything. Nobody would have thought of welfare.
Next, please. She greets the customers